Hi everyone, we are excited to have you here in today's fun-filled learning session at Uolo. Here is a quick look at how you can submit your work after the class. As a first step, go to live.uolo.com. You can use any browser to access this site. On this page, you will see a list of all our classes. Scroll down and you can see the Submit Your Work button. And then you will see a list of the classes that you've last attended, which could, for example, show the dance or craft or science experiment classes you've attended recently. Next, it will show you the list of children whose names are registered in this mobile number. Choose your name from this list to submit your work. For instance, if you are Satvik Kumar, choose that name. And then choose the class for which you would like to make your submission. For example, if you've attended the New Year's Masquerade Party session and you'd like to make the submission for this class, click on the Submit Your Work button below that. And then upload the photo you've taken. Choose the image from your phone and click Submit. You can scroll down and view all your past submissions and see how many of your friends or peers have liked your work. You can also see others' work and like their work to inspire your friends. If you want to showcase your work on social media, that too is very simple. Click on Share, copy the link and post it on Instagram or Facebook or any other platform of your choice. Just a tiny reminder, your submission looks a lot better if you could click a photo in the landscape mode rather than the portrait mode. Do not forget to tag us at Uolo_app. I'm eagerly looking forward to all your submissions right after this class.
Hi there. Hello. Hi, everybody. Nice to see all of my talented bunch of kids yet again for the class 3 of this course, but I don't see you all smiling. Yes, what's the reason? Why are you all so dull? Give me a bright smile. Come on, everybody. Yes, I want to see all of you giving me a bright smile so that we can start the class on a very, very good note. So, how is your day going? I hope you all are doing absolutely well, having a beautiful, beautiful day. And I am personally very excited for this class because this is going to be one of my favorites. And yes, so I hope you guys are doing well, and I welcome all of y'all to the class 3 of the course, which is about one stroke painting. Yes, so we have been trying this technique of one stroke painting for the previous 3 classes, and everybody who has attended all the previous 2 classes, I'm sorry, if you have attended the previous 2 classes, I'm sure you might be getting comfortable with the way you hold the brush, with the way we dip the brush into the paint, the way we place the brush at a different angle onto the paper. So one stroke painting is a one of a kind painting technique which is extremely versatile, because when we paint using this technique, there is dual effects that we are trying to give. Yes, we all know this. I've been repeating this in the previous classes as well, that we give the highlights and the contrasting effects together at one stroke itself. Okay, so let's look back. Let's look back at the first class of this course. Let's see who gives the first answer to this. What did we paint in the first class? Yes, come on, quickly in the chat section. Let's see who remembers the first class of this course, and also give me a thumbs up if you have attended the first class, and write down what did we paint in the first class. Giving you 10 seconds. I need quick answers coming in. Come on, everybody. Quickly type in your answers. What did we paint in the first class of this course, which is one stroke painting? Yes. Last 5 seconds to go. We are getting some right answers. Parth, Sakshi, Raj is giving the right answer. Very good, very good. Yes. So we painted flowers in the first class and we had the dual effect. If you remember, we used the red and the white paint in the first class to create a dual effect of the flower petals. We had that gradient tone. Yes, do you recollect all of these? We had the gradient tone, the dark, darker, darkest, or the light, lighter, lightest shade. Yes. So if we just have a look back at the first class, we had painted flowers, beautiful bright red flowers, which were having 3 tones. Yes. So it was the red at the center, then slightly a lighter tone of red, and finally we had a white part at the outside layer of the petals, and that is what we painted. And that was the first class where I discussed about the gradient tones and the tonal shades and the highlights and the contrast and everything. So I'm sure if you're somebody who had attended the previous classes of this course, you might have had a lot of knowledge about it, a lot of experience already about this technique. So that is what is the importance of attending all the classes of a particular course. Okay, so you need to understand this particular thing, that when you're enrolling for a particular course, it's extremely important that you follow all the classes consistently. So let's say, for example, if this was the course about one stroke painting, you were consistently attending the classes of this course. Say you attended the first class, you attended the class 2 as well, you might have got a little bit of comfort in the technique, and of course in terms of the experience and the knowledge that you have, you might be a step ahead in comparison to those who have not attended attended all the classes. Okay, so whichever class you enroll for, any XYZ class you enroll for, be very consistent. Okay, because all the courses here on Uolo are designed in a specific way so that we take you right from the beginner level to the advanced level. Okay, so don't be like you attend the first class and just skip the next few classes and then come back on the last class. No, just avoid doing that, because that would not be beneficial to you for two senses. First of all, you will not be able to learn the techniques in one go, and secondly, you would also not receive a certificate if you do that. Okay, so attending all the classes of a particular course and making submissions for all the classes of the course brings two advantages to you. Yes, it is number one, that you get a certificate by the end of the completion of the course, and secondly, you have a adequate knowledge about a particular technique that you're trying to learn. Okay, so avoid skipping any kind of classes in the course you have registered for, and be extremely consistent, because that is what is the fun part of the course. Okay, so I hope you have understood that. And on that note, please give me a thumbs up if you're ready for the class. I've seen a lot of you all joining in already. Please don't worry, we haven't started anything yet. Please give me a thumbs up if you're ready with your art materials. Give me a thumbs up if you're ready for the class to begin. And then I'll share the screen and we shall all get started with today's fun activity. Okay, so come on, quickly, I need thumbs ups in the chat section so that I get an indication that we are ready to begin. I want all the thumbs ups. Everybody attending the class, come on, give me a thumbs up. Come on, everybody, just a thumbs up in the chat section. Nothing very huge that I'm asking for. Just a thumbs up in the chat that you guys are ready with your art materials. You want the class to get started. Yes, come on, everybody. And in today's class, we are going to paint fruits with the help of one stroke painting technique. Yes, so look how versatile we are trying to be in this technique. We painted flowers, we painted a chirping bird in the previous class, and now we are on to fruits. So everybody attending all the classes so far must be enjoying this already. So this class brings an opportunity again to apply the learnings of the one stroke painting. And since I've got the number of thumbs ups, I'm going to quickly share the screen right here, and let us now just get started. Okay, so I hope you can see the screen, and now I'm just going to get started with the art materials first. Okay, so let us get started. Awesome. So number one, we need an A5 size of white drawing sheet. I have my journal over here, which is in size A5. It consists of white papers. And as I keep saying this again in all of my classes, that in case you're not having an A5 size of white drawing sheet, any size of white drawing sheet would be fine. If you have a smaller size, you can use that as well, time being, and learn the techniques. Just make sure that you're drawing smaller illustrations if you're using a smaller size of sheet. Apart from that, if you're not having a white sheet of paper, you can use a sheet from your notebooks as well. Time being, that's totally fine, because I want you to learn the techniques, and when later the right materials are available with you, you can use them and try the similar technique. Okay, so that is the first material. Second, we need a pencil, of course. So that's a pencil. We would be requiring this for creating a rough sketch in today's class. So just an outline or a rough sketch that we need to create. And for that, we need a pencil. Number three, we need a paintbrush. So I have two of these over here. You can have just one, but I'm going to use a flat brush over here. So try using a flat brush only. Okay, so I have a flat brush right here with me. Any one of these would be fine. And if possible, please make use of a flat brush and avoid making use of a round brush in today's class, because the technique is totally dependent on the flat brush only. Okay, so any size would be fine. Number four, we need acrylic paints. So I have two right here on my palette, that is red and yellow. So red and yellow acrylic paint, and additionally we would also require a green acrylic paint. So I'm not taking out this green acrylic paint onto the palette right now, because I'm afraid it would just dry till the time we are working on other techniques. So time being, I've just taken red and yellow onto the palette. You can just have a palette or a plate or a regular dish that you use for painting generally. So 3 acrylic paints today, just 3 acrylic paints. It would be red, yellow, green. Any shades of it would be totally fine. If you have, in terms of yellow, if you have lemon yellow, you have chrome yellow, you have any XYZ yellow, that's totally fine. Any shade of yellow would be fine. Any shade of red would be fine. I'm okay with crimson. I'm okay with coral red. I'm totally fine with any shades of red. Also, in terms of green, please do not worry. You can use any shade of green. You can use a sap green, bottle green, dark green, light green, parrot green. Any green would be totally fine. Okay, so 3 acrylic paints, repeating it again, especially for you, red, yellow, and green. Okay, and for red and yellow, I've taken it out on the palette. Green, I'm just keeping it aside, time being, and I'll take it out on the palette later when I'm using it. But time being, please make sure that all of you are taking the red and the yellow acrylic paint onto the palettes. Okay, so that's red and yellow, and additionally, as I said, we need green acrylic paint as well. Let's move ahead. For the number 5, we need a container of water. So I have water in this jar over here. You can use any container that you use regularly while working with paints. That's totally fine. Okay. And 6th, we need a rough cloth. So I have this rough napkin over here, which I generally use for painting while painting. You can either use a paper towel, tissue paper, or a rough cloth that you generally use while painting. Okay, so that's the rough cloth. So this is all that we need in today's class to get started. Okay, so I've discussed the art materials very comprehensively. I've given all the substitutes that are possible, and so I don't want any of y'all to leave this class just because you don't have a particular art material. In case you're not having any of these art materials, you can still watch this for the joy of watching it and see what are we creating today. And later, when the art materials are available with you, you can create it. And yes, so please do not leave the class. You can just maybe enjoy watching it and see what all of us create today. Okay, awesome. So first, let us begin with the rough sketch over here. And as I said, we are going to paint fruit in this particular class. So come on, let's have a quick poll. Any guesses on what fruit are we painting today? What fruit are we going to paint today? Yes, come on, quickly. I need some guesses in the chat section. Let me give you a hint. The name of the fruit starts from A. Okay, so that's a major hint, I think. But what do you think? Which fruit are we going to paint today? Quickly, just type in your guesses in the chat section. Let's see if anybody could guess this. Yes, which fruit are we going to paint today? And the hint is that the name of the fruit starts from A. Yes, come on, everybody who can guess it. Let's see who gives the correct guess first. Giving you last 5 seconds. Come on, quickly. What do you think? Which fruit are we going to? You already have another hint right in front of you from the color of the acrylic paint. Yes, so you already have 2 hints coming in. The name of the fruit starts from A. The acrylic color in front of you is red and yellow. What fruit is it? It is just one fruit that we are going to paint today, but we are going to make it a beautiful one. So come on, yes. So we have few right guesses coming in. Okay. So I'm not going to make you wait any more for this, and we are going to paint apples in today's class. Okay, so we are going to paint apples in today's class. So let us all now create a rough sketch of it. Okay, so first let us begin with creating an apple at the left side. So quickly observe this first, and then I'll repeat it for you so you can draw it for yourself. Okay, so slightly at the left side of the sheet and a slightly tilted apple that I'm trying to create. So repeating it again for you, you can all begin with me. So that's the first curved line that I draw. And then I join this and create another curved line. Okay, so make sure that your apples are nice, fluffy, and not very thin and dried. Okay, so we need to create fresh fruits over here. So make it nice in size, good in size. Okay, also creating this curve right over here for the detailing part. Okay, let's create another one right next to it at a lower side. Okay, and slightly smaller ones. You can also just enjoy with the sizes of the apples that you want to create. Okay, let's draw the branches as well. So one branch over here, another one right over here. Let's create another apple down here because I have enough space. So I'm going to create another apple right over here. Okay, so I hope you are able to get the outline of the apple well. In case you're not able to get it well, I'm repeating it for you. Please have a look at it. Okay, so that's the first curve that I'm trying to create. And then the next side. And the curve is in such a way that the top portion has a slightly tilted curve over here. Okay, so it's going a little down and then it's coming up again and then all the way going down. Okay, and the final detail over here, a tiny curved line, and then just connecting this to the branch. Okay, so 3 apples is what I created. In case you're having a larger size of sheet, you can add more apples and paint more of these apples. But for me, I just have this amount of space available on the sheet, and hence I'm going to draw just 3 apples. In case you're having another, smaller size of the sheet, you can probably draw just 1 or 2 of these apples and then paint along with me. Okay. Let's add some leaves, regular leaves. I'm sure this is not very difficult for you. So just randomly add leaves to the branch, which we will of course paint later on, but I'm just creating a rough sketch over here. Okay, so just 2 curved lines for creating the leaves, simple ones. Okay. So I've just filled the remaining area with leaves. Please do not overload the area with leaves. Just randomly 3-4 of them would be totally fine. Okay, so we are done with the rough sketch. We are just done with the outline of the apples, and now it's time to dive into the one stroke painting technique to add colors into it. Okay, so again, this time, since it's a different project, different illustration that we are working on, I want all of you all to just observe it for the first time, and then I would be especially repeating this so that you can carry along. So for the first time, please, all eyes on the screen, and then I'll repeat it for you all. Okay, so we'll start from the brush, the flat brush. Let's clean it nicely, dip it into water and pat it on the rough cloth. Just clean it. Okay, so we don't need a wet brush, and that's the reason I'm just dipping it into water and then patting it on the rough cloth so that it is dried. Okay, so this will help me to get a clean brush. Okay, awesome. So that's the clean brush that I have with me. Okay, awesome. And now it's the paint time. So acrylic paints. And here I'm following the similar technique that we followed in the first class. Okay, the way we picked colors with the help of the brush in the first class, I'm going to use the similar technique over here again. So everybody have a look at it. Okay, so a dry brush, a clean brush, we dip half part of the brush into red and half part into the yellow paint. Okay, so let's quickly begin removing the excess water. So half part into red first, just half part, yes. And then the other half into the yellow paint. And then we'll create a stroke on the palette itself, just like this. Okay. Awesome. Going to repeat this again, but this is exactly the similar technique that we tried in the first class. So I'm sure you must be a little more comfortable this time while picking this color nicely. Okay, so you can all just pick up this color onto the brush along with me now when I'm repeating it. So let's begin. Half part of the brush into red and half into yellow. Okay, so half part into red first. You can just tilt your brush a little bit at an angle. Look how I'm just placing the brush at an angle. I'm just dipping half part of the brush into red. I'm leaving the half part blank. I'm leaving the half part the way it is. Just half part into red. And then for the other half, I dip it into the yellow paint. Just like this. So again, if you see, I'm holding it in an angle. I'm holding the brush in an angle so that the red doesn't mix with the yellow over here. Okay, so just hold it at an angle and make sure that you're using half of these paints, and then just create a stroke on the palette like this so that you get an idea of what shades you're coming with. So if you see over here as well, we have a gradient tone already coming over here. We have the red and we have a slightest of orange shade, and then we finally have a yellow shade. Okay, so this is what we want. This is the kind of contrast and tonal effects that we are looking for. Okay, so once we have good amount of paint onto the brush, what we need to do next is start with painting. And just the thing that we need to make sure today is that the red part, if you see, the red part of the brush should be on the outside. Okay, be very, very careful while doing this. The red part of the brush should be on the outside. Okay, so the red part is on the outside. Slightly tilt the artwork and start by giving outline first. Just like this. Okay, just like this. And if you see, the red part of the paint, the red part of the brush is on the outside. So we're going to follow this and start by giving an outline first. If you feel there's very less amount of paint onto the brush, go back again, dip the brush into the paint in the similar way. Half part into red, half part into yellow. And then create a stroke onto the palette, and then come back to your painting and create the outline. Okay, just make sure that the red part is on the outside. Okay, otherwise you will end up ruining your artworks. Please make sure that the red is on the outside, and start by giving an outline. Okay, and as I said, keep dipping brush into the paint if you feel the brush has dried up. So if you see, for me, constantly I'm taking paint onto the brush so that I don't have a dry brush. The half part into red, half into yellow, create a stroke on the palette and come to your artwork again. Okay, and red on the outside. Red should always be on the outside this time. And for the central part, just slightly tilt your brush towards the yellow part. Just slightly tilt your brush. So if you could see how I'm holding the brush this time, I'm placing the yellow part below. I'm placing the yellow part onto the paper this time and just using the yellow part to paint the center. Okay, so just use the center part as a yellow. Just tilt the brush nicely. And then again, if you feel there's a little bit of gap left, you can just go ahead and again give the outline over here. Okay, so just like this. Awesome. So this was the first part, and when we paint the center part, we just hold the brush at an angle such that the yellow part of the brush is onto the paper. It is in direct contact with the paper, and we paint it nice and well. Okay, so in case you're not able to get this technique at the first go, please don't mind, please don't worry, because we will have other two fruits in case you have drawn this along with me to be filled with paint as well, so that you will get a better idea of what the technique is. Okay, so don't worry, don't panic in case you haven't got this technique the right way, but as I say, keep practicing. Okay, practice and practice so that you get better at it. Again, the red part on the outside. Okay, and look how I hold the brush, and first of all how I hold my sheet at an angle. I've just tilted the journal at an angle, and then I start from the central part and I'm going ahead with the outline only. Okay, and the red is on the outside, of course. So the red on the outside, and if you see, the brush has dried up a little bit, so I'm going back and taking a little bit of more paint. Okay, awesome. So now it's full with paint, going back, taking a little bit of paint, creating a stroke. Okay, so whenever you're picking up the paint, don't forget to create the stroke on the palette. Okay, awesome. Let's begin. We begin with the outline only. So first, just focus on the outline. Just like this, and then keep tilting your sheets as and when you're comfortable. Okay, but focus on the outline only first. And again, just tilting the brush and painting the inner part with yellow only. Okay, just like this. Awesome. So let's move to the next one. In case you still haven't got this technique, here is another recap for you. So don't worry. Again, taking the paint, creating the stroke onto the palette, and then the red part on the outside. Start from the outline. Hold the brush at an angle. Look how I'm holding the brush. Okay. And then the red part is on the outside, and then I create a stroke first. Okay, so this is what we call as one stroke painting. So if you see, we create the dual tonal shades over here. The red is on the outside, the yellow on the inside, and all of this we created in one go itself. The moment we had paint onto the brush, we use the same brush again and again for the highlights, for the lighter tone, for the darker tone, and everything. So this is the essence of one stroke painting. Okay, next we're just done with the apples. In case you haven't got this technique, please don't worry, you can keep practicing a little bit more, but let's move ahead now because we're just left with a little bit of it. So just take a little bit of red paint onto the brush now, and just the curve that we have drawn over here, just go ahead onto it, just a little bit of highlight at that area, just like this. Okay, so we're done. With the apples now, let's move to the branch and the leaves. So clean your brushes nice and well. Clean it well, pat it onto the rough cloth to see if you have got rid of all the paints. Okay. I'm going to change the brush over here. I'm going to use this brush, and please clean the brush if you're making use of another brush. And now I'm going to take out the green onto the palette. This is the green I'm going to use for the leaves and the branches. I'm going to take out a little bit of it onto the palette over here. Okay. So just a little amount of it. Only a little bit of it. Okay, good enough. So as the technique goes for the apples, where we dipped half into red and half into yellow, we're going to follow the same technique for the leaves as well, but just the difference would be this time we would use a combination of green and yellow. Okay, so let's begin with this part. So half into green, half is green. So first of all, let's complete the branch, of course. Since we have taken half part of green onto the brush, please go ahead and create the branches with the green. Okay, so just giving the green branches over here. All right, so just the branches, nice and clean. Just going ahead with the branches over here, and then we'll start with the leaf, but first let's complete the branch. All right, so I'm just done with the branches over here. Let's move ahead to the leaves now. So I'm just cleaning the brush because the entire green was loaded onto the brush. For the leaves, we want to use two combinations, two color combinations. So please clean your brushes as well. Okay, so clean a brush, pat it onto the rough cloth or the tissue paper that you have. And now again, we are going to dip the brush into the paint. Okay, so again, just holding it closer to the camera so that you have a careful look at it. Okay, so half part into green, half into green, and half into yellow, just like this. And then create a stroke. Wow, that's beautiful. So half part into green and half part into yellow. Take a little bit of more paint again in case you feel there's less of it, and create the stroke again. Okay, so the leaves is pretty simple, nothing very great because we have already created the outline. So the green is to be kept on the outside again. So this is how I create it. And then for the other part of it, you will have to switch or turn over the brush. Okay, so you have to probably turn over the brush. If you feel there's very less amount of paint onto the brush, please go ahead and take a little bit of more paint and keep the yellow on the inside this time and the green on the outside. Okay, if you feel this is a little difficult for you to carry out, you can just load your brush with the two paints and just paint it nicely. You will still be able to get that, color combination of green and yellow over here. Okay, so just the similar technique, exactly the similar technique that we use for the apples, but just a change or difference in the shade. Okay, awesome. So if you want me to repeat this particular leaf for you, have a careful look. So for the upper part, upper curve, I have the green on the outside. And then for the bottom part, you'll have to switch. You'll have to turn over the brush. Okay, you'll have to turn over the brush. So did you observe me turning over the brush over here? I'm gonna repeat it again. Have a careful look. So green on the outside first. I create a stroke and then I turn over the brush. And then I create another stroke. Only if you turn over the stroke, turn over the brush for the bottom stroke, you'll be able to get the green on the outside. Okay. And in case you feel this is extremely monotonous, you can just skip this particular part of the leaves and just create plain green leaves, or you can use two of these shades and just fill color into the leaves instead of doing it in the one stroke technique. Okay, awesome. Just turning the brush now and creating another set over here. All right. So in case you're wondering what would the simple leaf look like, so I'm gonna give you an idea of that as well over here. Okay. Just simply fill color like this. Simple. Don't just follow the trick for the color. Just simply fill into the leaf like this. So you'll still have a little bit of yellow and green being visible in its own parts. Okay. Awesome. Let's move to the next leaf over here. Okay. Just like this. So if you see, even here, I'm just simply filling it with the color. You can follow the similar technique as well. And I've also shown the two parts of, using the one stroke painting technique for the leaves. In case you don't find it to be feasible for you, you can just fill it with color like this. And you can just keep trying the one stroke painting leaf. You'll surely get it with one or two more practices. Okay. So this is what we created in today's class. That was the apples with the one stroke painting technique. So I'm absolutely loving how the way it looks for me. And I also see some of y'all showing me your artworks. So I'm extremely happy to see all of you creating this along with me. But please do not forget to make your submissions, because I'll be even more excited to check them personally. Okay, so right after this class ends, I'm going to go check your submissions, see what you all have created. So please do not miss on to making your submissions. Okay, just showing you all a closer look of it. So these were the apples that we created in today's class with the help of one stroke painting technique. Okay, so I hope you guys enjoyed creating this with me, and please do not miss on to the next class as well, because we are going to paint a beautiful butterfly using this technique. Yes, you heard it right. We are going to paint a beautiful butterfly using the one stroke technique only. Okay, so in case you are somebody who's still not able to get the technique right, trust me, a little bit of practice would go a long way. Okay, so keep practicing, stay creative, and please do take care of yourself. So until next time, and I'll see you in the next class. Bye-bye.
Hi everyone, we are excited to have you here in today's fun-filled learning session at Uolo. Here is a quick look at how you can submit your work after the class. As a first step, go to live.uolo.com. You can use any browser to access this site. On this page, you will see a list of all our classes. Scroll down and you can see the Submit Your Work button. And then you will see a list of the classes that you've last attended, which could, for example, show the dance or craft or science experiment classes you've attended recently. Next, it will show you the list of children whose names are registered in this mobile number. Choose your name from this list to submit your work. For instance, if you are Satvik Kumar, choose that name. And then choose the class for which you would like to make your submission. For example, if you've attended the New Year's Masquerade Party session and you'd like to make the submission for this class, click on the Submit Your Work button below that. And then upload the photo you've taken. Choose the image from your phone and click Submit. You can scroll down and view all your past submissions and see how many of your friends or peers have liked your work. You can also see others' work and like their work to inspire your friends. If you want to showcase your work on social media, that too is very simple. Click on share, copy the link and post it on Instagram or Facebook or any other platform of your choice. Just a tiny reminder, your submission looks a lot better if you could click a photo in the landscape mode rather than the portrait mode. Do not forget to tag us at Uolo_app. I'm eagerly looking forward to all your submissions